So, good evening and welcome to day one of my 31-day challenge, talking about the PEPP talk or the PEPP story approach to speaking. This is day one, and it's been a big day getting it all together. Let's get started. So here we are on day one. It's very late. We're just 10 minutes away from midnight, so I've just about made it before we end the day. I'm doing a 31-day challenge, not quite as impressive as Eddie is at, doing 31 marathons in 31 days. That popped up on my screen this morning. It was quite interesting. But I'm going to be doing 31 days talking about public speaking, talking about becoming a great speaker and using my PEPP story approach, which I'm going to unravel as we go through the through the week. I think, one thing we're definitely seeing is that we're not going to get back anytime soon to speaking face to face. I think those days are going to be a fair way away. No matter how quickly they're trying to roll out this vaccination, we're still going to be having problems. So within the speaking industry, we've pretty much come to the conclusion that we're stuck with this pretty much for the year. And actually, we think once people start to look at how much less or how less expensive it is to run meetings online, a lot of people are going to be very reluctant to go back to the expensive old days, and more people working from home. So what we're going to have to do is to learn how to become better communicators, better speakers online, and try to make this work. And I've been doing that for about 5 years, and the last year, obviously, an awful lot more. So I thought it was a good time to try and bring all of those thoughts and ideas in and try and put together. I'm just going to share. I've been speaking for a long time, over 40 years. I've been coaching people for 30 years. And I'm just going to share my ideas in this program. Some of them are going to be fairly long, some fairly short. So I'm just going to be about 10 minutes just to introduce everything. The PEPP story approach that I'm talking about, there's a brief story behind that. I was invited to do a workshop at Toastmasters International in Ireland back in the 90s. Somebody dropped out, and I looked through the Toastmaster manual to try and figure out, what could I do? Because I only had literally 24 hours to put the whole workshop together. And when I looked at the early speeches and rearranged them in a slightly different order, it spelled out PEPP. And bit by bit, it developed. And PEPP story is really very simple. It's about purpose, experience, passion, performance, and story. And so those are the things that we're going to be working on. When I'm coaching, that's what I look for. When somebody's delivering a speech, I know somewhere around, if there's a problem in the speech, it's going to be one of those things that's not working. And if you look at TEDx, and I've explored loads of TEDx talks, I've coached chief executives and all sorts of other people. So, excuse me a second. Television jumped in without me expecting it. There we go. So, fear of speaking. Well, it's one of the reasons for fear of speaking. What if something goes wrong? Well, if something goes wrong, you deal with it and you accept it. And we're live, so things can happen live, and you just have to pick them up, deal with them, get on with it, and move on. Why are people so afraid of speaking? I've never fully understood it. And a lot of people think that fear of speaking is the number one fear. That's it. It's the greatest fear that everybody faces. And I had to ask myself, what is there that can possibly go wrong when you're delivering a speech? Why would this be the number one fear? Why would people say, I would rather die than deliver a speech? It doesn't make sense, does it? And yet, fear of speaking comes number one on so many lists. Fear of death is down around about number 7. Fear of spiders, fear of heights, fear of drowning. All of those are low, and doesn't make sense. Didn't make sense to me at all. And I started to analyze it. Now, I'm transgender, and I lived with fear of people finding out about that for a long time. I was 50 before I finally had the courage to come out. And it was then I began to realize what the real fear was behind people speaking, because I suddenly had to go to meetings and stand up and speak, yeah, and identify as female while I was doing it to people who'd known me for years as male. And what I discovered was that the number one fear, our greatest fear that we face in our lives, isn't fear of speaking, isn't death, isn't any of those. The big fear is shame. Shame, humiliation, ridicule, being made a fool of. It terrifies us. It's the weapon bullies use. Find a piece of information about you that you really don't want anyone to know, and then threaten to expose you with it. I came out because somebody threatened to expose to the world that I was transgender. Very few people knew, but one of them had decided that they were going to tell the world. And I thought, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not going to let somebody else control me, somebody else decide that actually they're going to hold me to ransom. So I came out. I told other people, and I thought, once I'm out, I control the story. I can handle things. And even though I was really, really terrified, once I came out, actually, I found once you're in the middle of it, once you're in the thick of it, once you're doing it, there is no fear. So what's the fear of speaking? Well, the fear is simply the same thing, that you're going to get up on that stage and you're going to make a fool of yourself. You're going to say something silly. And because on something like Zoom or StreamYard here, where we're presenting live, I can go wrong. And, the television can come on in the middle of my presentation. The dogs can start barking. There are all manner of things. And we're all having to learn, living from home, how to handle that. And so we deal with it. Things go wrong. Everything that can go wrong in delivering a speech has gone wrong for me. I have forgotten the speech in the middle of it. I've had to actually sit down and say, I'm sorry, I can't deliver this in a speech contest. I've turned up on stage with, bits of clothes open that shouldn't be open. I've had laptops hang, slides stop working, jackhammers on the roof. You name it, it's happened. And we just deal with it. And it's a bit challenging at the time, but it doesn't, you don't die from it. Our biggest fear is that we will make a mess up and we will be shamed. So what you'll find if you follow me along for the next 31 days, I'm going to take you through how we can deal with that. When I'm coaching people about speaking, often the number one problem I find is that people simply haven't prepared enough for what they're trying to do. They don't have a clear sense of what the purpose is. They're talking about something that really they don't actually care much about. There's no passion in what they're speaking, and they're not drawing on their experience. Very seldom is it about performance skills, but sometimes that can be an issue. Sometimes we have to learn how to improve that performance. And particularly, almost every speech which is boring is because it doesn't have a story. There's no story to engage people. We love stories. Stories engage us for millennia, for thousands of years. Most of the history, most of the information is spread around the world because people have told stories. So if you want to be a good speaker, you're going to have to learn how to be a good storyteller. So that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to really say today. Fear, there is no real fear. It's fear of humiliation. And you tackle that by being better prepared. And we do the PEPP story is the way to handle that. And I'm going to show you tips and tricks on how to become a great speaker. Follow me through. Anybody that would like, if you'd like more personal one-to-one treatment, then I'm open to doing lots of doing coaching, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. But no obligation. This is a free program for the next 31 days. If you follow me, I guarantee I'll give you all the tools you need to become a great speaker. Happy New Year. Hope you've had a fabulous one. It's been a bit quiet, I know, not too much drinking out, but let's make 2021 a fabulous year, and let's get a grips with all this, become great speakers online as well. So we'll be talking about that. And I said I'm doing Zoom workshops and various things during the month as well to help you out. So that's it. Join me tomorrow for day 2 of this. thank you for being with me tonight. I'm still learning how to handle all the new. I've been setting up all new bits for this, and I'm currently not in the right studio with all my lights and things, but will be later on. So join me tomorrow. I'll be about 5 o'clock, I think, tomorrow, but I will set that up so you'll know exactly what's happening. Thanks for being with me, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow if you can make it.